Hi friends, a short video on why Australia lost the first test to India in a very humiliating manner, innings defeat. Well, as we all say, we remember the proverb, well begun is half done. In the case of Australia, their openers failed in both the innings. Both Warner and his other compatriot both really could negotiate Ashwin's off spin effectively. Of course, the pitch was not in their favor, especially the pitch was rolled in such a way that outside left-handers off stump, it was drier and allowed to facilitate, of course, a lot of turn. So that's what helped Ashwin a lot. But still, the opener's contribution should have been a lot. Any overseas test series, if you notice teams that keep on winning, they always have a strong set of openers. The opening partnership really is very crucial for any team to succeed. If you remember, one of the greatest test series played between Australia and India in 2001, Matt Hayden really was the crux of their batsman. He did score a lot of runs in all the innings, and definitely he was a great opener, and that's what helped Australia post convincing scores all through that test series. So in this case, if you notice, the openers failed in both the innings, and definitely when you are playing overseas, if the openers don't play well, definitely the pressure is more on the other batsmen. That's what always happened to India whenever they toured abroad after the departure of Gavaskar after his retirement. They always used to come up really on the wrong side, always 0 for 2 or 5 for 2, and a lot of pressure on Dravid as soon as he entered the arena. So that's one of the main reasons we feel that contributed to Australia's defeat. Plus, of course, their spinners were effective, but not so effective as the Indian spinners. And of course, the Indian spinners are playing on their home grounds. But what we feel is that the openers' failure really was one of the biggest contributing factors as far as this test defeat is concerned. So unless the openers come up trumps against Ashwin, which we feel is highly unlikely given this short test series and back-to-back test matches and all dice really rolled against their favor, we hope they succeed. But one good point for Australia is that Smith has struck form, and in second innings he was unbeaten. So which is really bad news for India. So Smith especially his favorite bowling is the Indian bowling, especially in Australia. He had succeeded well against India. And whenever he has succeeded against India, really Australia have scored a lot of runs. So we only hope that Smith doesn't get to play too well against India, but the damage would be greater if he succeeds. So let's see how this series peters out. Once again, best wishes to Ashwin and Jadeja in both the innings. Each of them took more than 5 wickets, and especially Ashwin has been a real great match winner in Indian conditions. Let's hope he continues this form throughout this series. Hi friends, the short video on how India gave Australia a taste of its own bitter medicine. If you have observed, it's not entirely uncommon for teams when they visit Australia to be bowled out within the first day, probably within the first 2 sessions, and then wait or look at Australia accumulating a lot of runs. So same thing has happened to them now again in India. After being out for 177, now they are seeing the tail wagging with both Akshar Patel and Jadeja scoring good runs, both scoring 50s, plus coupled with Rohit's century. Definitely they are, and I think they are waiting for the frustration. And it's good to see India doing well, but the failure of the middle order is not a welcome sign. But again, they got out to balls which were outside the leg stump. So which doesn't really sound very bad, but still the score could have been a lot more. Hi friends, in the first test, Australia were short for 177 and India are lost only 1 wicket. But I think day 2 will be very crucial for India because Rohit needs to carry on with his form and score plenty of runs. Probably if India continue to play throughout day 2, and take a healthy lead, then probably India have a very good chance of closing this test within 3 days. Otherwise, if India is shut out for 200 or 250 odd runs, we need to remember that India are going to be playing last. So the best bet for India is to have a healthy lead and ensure that they don't bat again. So that's going to be the next challenge for India. Let's see what happens. Hi friends, the short video on why India lost the one-day series to Bangladesh. Well, contrary to expectations, things have not been going well for India during this Bangladesh tour. The first one-day, despite having Bangladesh on the mat with 6 wickets being down at 136 runs, India allowed Bangladesh to extricate itself and march towards victory. The reasons at that time were due to India forgetting the usual adage of catches win matches. Catches were dropped, the last wicket stand was playing, and it definitely had a bearing on the match result. Along with it, the usual slow start and the inability of the openers to take advantage of the power play was repeated. What we noticed in World T20 again was repeated in these matches also. And again, if that was not enough, in the second one day, India allowed Bangladesh to score over 270 runs. That itself showed the bowlers in poor light. What India seemed to lack is a good pair of bowlers to keep the run flow in check during the middle overs. The second string of bowlers don't seem to have taken the mantle from the senior set, and the results are there for everyone to see. Coupled with this, injuries to key bowlers has taken its toll. India are yet to find a good replacement for Bumrah or for that matter Shami. Umran Malik generates good pace but wasn't effective when the pitch dried out in the middle overs. The fact that Bangladesh were allowed to claw back from defeat doesn't speak volumes about this Indian cricket team. A question also remains as to why Rohit didn't choose to bat higher up in the order despite his injury. With less than a year left for the 50 over World Cup, things don't seem to be rosy for India, and it's time for them to buckle up. Let's see how Indian team fares in the remaining set of one-day matches and in subsequent one-day series. But we can't have much hope is what we feel. Let's see what happens. Thanks for watching. Hi friends, please wear your mask at all times. Don't go out unnecessarily. That's the way you can stop the spread of COVID. Thanks for watching. இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. Thanks.